voice.
When they told us go to ask me, leather pants got me feeling like a bad bitch. I'm still the same rock.
Who's ready for the first tutorial?
Yeah, I'm in my zone. Yeah, they asking how I do it. He sweat up in a whip. Yeah, I hit it, now I'm moving.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another banger. So over my time on YouTube, the comment I definitely get the most would have to be, so let's do it. So in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys 3 different tutorials that I did on my recent montage. Cap alert, cap alert. Alright boys, so I'm gonna be only showing you guys the portal effect today because that tutorial literally took 26 minutes to make. I was capping thinking I could put 3 effects in one tutorial. So if you guys want to see how I do the other effects, make sure you guys drop a like down below, and if we can hit 2,000 likes, I'll be showing you guys the next tutorial.
Bands, yeah, the bands tell me on. Got bands for my friends, no more bands for my life. Pull up in a drop top.
So there's no time to waste, so let's hop into After Effects. Alrighty guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the portal effect that I used in the recent video for Flea. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new pre-composition right here with this icon, and we're just going to name it Portal Effect. 1920 by 1080, 30 FPS, looking good. Create that new comp. And from here, the first step is recording 3 simple cinematics of you just panning forward. I'll be leaving the 3 cinematics that I used in the video down in the description if you guys want to use them and follow along. So once you guys have that cinematic, you're going to grab it, put it in a new pre-composition, and from here we're going to be 3D camera tracking the whole video. So we're going to go over to the effects and presets, type in 3D camera tracker, it'll pop up, grab it, throw it on that layer, go to advanced, detailed analysis. It just helps kind of like create more tracking points, makes it more accurate. So after the video is analyzed, we're going to be figuring out where we're going to put the portal, and we want to put the portal at the end of the cinematic, and we are going to go with right here on this line, right by this pole. So we're going to grab these markers right here, and we're going to right click, create solid and camera. And so inside this solid is where your portal is going to be. So we're going to be opening this solid layer and moving it around so it kind of looks a little better when it's orientated. So once you have your solid orientated, we are going to right click on it and click pre-compose, and make sure you leave all your attributes inside, and we can just name it that portal. Boom, and it'll open you up in a new composition, and we are going to delete that solid. So from here we're gonna go up to composition and go to composition settings, and we're gonna change the width to 900, and we're gonna change the height to 1600. After you're done that, we are going to create a right click, new solid, and we are going to make this solid pink. And from here we are going to grab the shape tool and hold it down and make sure it's on ellipse tool, and we are going to create the portal. So we're just gonna go like something like that. So the reason why it's pink is because we're going to be using it kind of like a green screen where we're going to key it out. Alright, so the next step we're going to be doing is the Saber. So we are going to right click, new, solid, and we're just going to name this a Saber. Then we're going to go over to the effects and presets, type in Saber, grab it, drag it onto that Saber layer, and we're going to go to customize core, core type, Saber, click layer mask. And now on your bottom layer where your solid is with the oval, we are going to go down, we're going to go to masks, click on that mask, Control C, go over to the Saber layer, click on Saber, and Control V, and that will give us the Saber look. So from here we can go over to the Saber and click on the preset, and from here you can play around, click on any one you want. For this one we're going to be using Fractal, and we're going to change the glow color to blue. We're going to keep the glow intensity, and then on the glow spread we're going to change that to 0.12. We're going to keep the bias at 0.56, and the core size we're going to do 1.2. From here we can scroll down and click on render settings, go down to composite settings, and click transparent, and there we go. So now that we have our Saber outline, the next thing we're gonna do is all the finishing touches to the portal. So we're gonna right click, new, adjustment layer, and go over to our effects and presets and type in uni.heatwave. Throw that puppy on that adjustment layer. We're gonna be changing the speed to 28 and the blur amount to 16. And heatwave is pretty much self-explanatory. It gives it just like a really like warpy like blur to it. Next thing we're gonna add is warp chroma. Throw that in, and same thing from Z distance. We're gonna do 0.970. Gives it just a nice subtle RGB. And the next effect we're gonna use is a glow, and for this case we're gonna be using deep glow. If you guys don't have deep glow, any glow could work. For this case we're gonna be using deep glow. For the radius we're gonna do 400, and for the exposure we're gonna do 0.78, and then we're just gonna turn the threshold up just a tad, just to give it a really subtle glow. And there we go, and now we have our portal. So if we go back to our other cinematic, also if you do use deep glow, make sure you guys go down to the bottom and click on the unmold. So now you can see we have our portal 3D motion track to the cinematic. The reason why we did a pink solid for the middle is we're going to use it like a green screen. So because we're going to have like a first person view of someone running, we want to give it kind of effects of the speed. So the first blur we're going to use is radio blur, BCC radio blur to be more specific. We're going to add that to our actual cinematic on the bottom, and we're going to make sure that the center is in the center of the video. So we're going to be changing the blur amount to 10, and there we go. So it kind of gives it the effect of, you know, the speed of running into the portal. And the next effect we're going to be using is, you guessed it, warp chroma. Drag that into our bottom layer. Change the Z distance to 0.970, and the next effect we're going to use is heat wave. Throw that on the bottom, and the final touch to this is we're going to actually add another heat wave to the portal. And if we play it back, so after you've done all that, now you'll have something that looks like this, where the portal is 3D camera tracked with all the effects. The whole reason why we have a pink solid inside is we're going to be using it like a green screen. And the only reason why I didn't make it green is obviously because there's already green in the cinematic. So if you try to get rid of that green, it'll get rid of all of it. So we made it a color that's opposite of, you know, there's no color, there's no pink inside the actual video. So after you've done that, you want to do the same process for the other two cinematics. So after you've done that, you want to go back to your main composition. You want to grab your portal cinematics and throw them in to the composition. In this case, this composition is really big. And once you've done that, we are going to be adding the key light to it. So we're going to go over to effects and type in key light. Grab key light, put it on the composition, and go to the screen color. We want to go pretty close to the end. Click on this little eyedropper and click on the pink. From here, we're going to be just adjusting the gain and the balance to make sure that all the pink is gone. So we're just gonna go like that. So now that it's black, that means it's transparent, meaning we can grab any other footage and put it below it, and it'll make that portal effect just like that. That looks beautiful. So once you've completed the process for the other two sins, we are going to drag the second one in and put it below it. And for this case, because I'm lazy, I just took the one I did for the other video and just rendered it out. So I'm just gonna drag in a random song. In this case, we're using Cash Out by Rarin. Super good song. And we're just gonna find our beats. So because this is transparent and obviously you want to see the whole portal going on, we want to grab that bottom layer and put it all the way at the start of that first layer, so we can see the actual like inside of the portal the whole time. So from here, we are going to sync up that first clip, and because I have the keyboard shortcuts, I do not know the stock time remapping shortcut. For me, it's D. So we're going to be opening up the time remapping, and we're going to go to our first marker right here. And in this case, we're just going to grab that N keyframe and put it right there. And we're just going to cut that, delete that extra stuff, and we are going to highlight them, easy ease F9, open that graph, and it's super simple, just time remapping graph again, something like that. You guys can obviously go ahead and play with it, but obviously we want to have it start off super fast, kind of goes a little slower, and then right before you go through the portal, you know, you want to kind of zoom into the portal.
It's pulling on my strings, yeah, they wonder why I left. Yeah, the bands, yeah, the bands, yeah,
As you can see, the heat wave is just a little too fast because of the time wrapping. So if we go into that and we go down to our bottom layer and go to the heat wave, we can turn down the speed and just adjust it however much we want. We can turn down the blur too. We can do like 15. So the only difference from what I created and what we're doing in the tutorial is just the speed. In the actual montage, it's super quick, like half a second, you know, portal zoom zoom zoom, where this one's more like 2 second, you know, each time. But that's the only difference, is just this one's a lot slowed down. But other than that, it's all the same. So once we have that first one synced up like that, as soon as we go through the portal, we want this same type of speed. So we are going to go to that bottom layer and open up our time remapping, and we're going to keyframe that time remapping spot right there and go to our next keyframe right here. And this is where we want to go through the actual portal. So we are going to drag the time and go all the way to the end until we go all the way through that portal, and then we're just going to cut it and delete. And from here we are going to highlight them, easy ease graph editor, and for as soon as we go through the portal, same type of graph, we're just going to be moving it up something like that. And for the actual inside the portal, we can kind of have it just regular speed, something like that.
the bands, yeah, the bands, yeah, the bands tell me on. Got bands for my friends, no more bands for my life.
So for the last one, I actually didn't do the portal. It's just a regular sin. So we are going to find our beginning, and then we're just gonna make this sin a little longer, put it on the bottom of the other two, and this is where we're gonna be doing the key light. So if we click on it, go over to effects, type in key light, drag it on, and we want to make sure we get that really solid green. So we're just going to grab that eyedropper, boom, and honestly, just like that, looks pretty good, I would have to say. So we put a keyframe right there, and on the end marker, we're just going to drag the time remapping until right about there. A little too far, but just for this case, we are going to put that right there. We are going to highlight them, go on the time mapping, drag it down, and now if we play it back,
Pulling on my strings, yeah, they wonder why I left. Yeah, the bands, yeah, the bands, yeah, the bands tell me on. Got bands for my friends, no more bands for my life.
So as you can see with these cinematics, I tried to record them at a level of eyesight because we're gonna have the first person with the gun. Alright, so this is where things kind of get more complicated with the shotgun. If you guys don't have Element 3D, or if you just want to skip all these steps, I'll be leaving the shotgun animation down below if you guys just want to skip all those steps and just, you know, add them to your videos. But for this case, we're gonna go through the whole entire thing. So the first thing we do is go up to layer, click new, solid, and we're gonna make it shotgun 3D. I'm very limited to what 3D stuff I can do just because I have not learned Blender yet. I don't really have the time right now to go through that whole process. So I just try to make do with Element 3D. So the first thing we're gonna do is go over to effects, type in element, grab element, put it on the solid, and from here we're gonna go into scene setup. And on the top left, we're gonna click import and find the folder wherever you save the shotgun model that I left down below. Right here, we have the folder. Click on it, and we're gonna be clicking on the model and clicking OK. It might be really small like this, but all you have to do is go over to scale and scale that puppy up. So now we have our 3D model of our shotgun, and from here we're gonna be adding the textures. So we are going to open the shotgun and click on that. So the next thing we're going to do is go over to our textures and click on diffuse and do this little drop down and load from file, and go to your folder where the texture is right here and we're just going to simply double click on it, click OK, and now we have our shotgun with the texture on it. And from here we can go into environment, and this is where you can play around with what environment you want. In this case, we're gonna go to my environment folder, and this is all my environments that I use. And in this case, I use the trippy. It just gives it a real subtle, like colorful glow to it, kind of reflectivity. After that, we're going to click OK, and we got our shotgun. From here, this is where we're gonna do the animation for the shotgun, and it gets really complicated, but hopefully you can follow along. So we're going to go to group 1 and go to particle replicator, and we are going to keyframe the position X and Y, position Z, go to rotation and turn all of these on also. After you've done that, click U and it will display all your keyframes. And from here, this is where we are going to try to animate this. So the first thing we're going to do is go to position Z and turn that to negative, so it kind of zooms a little closer. Go to position X and Y, bring it down. So this is where playing Call of Duty definitely helps. We're going to move it over. So if you want, you can pause the video and make sure all your keyframes are at these values right here. And the next step is we're going to go ahead in the video about 15 keyframes. So I went ahead 15 frames, and these are all the values of our second set. But for the third set of keyframes, these are the values that you want to do. Is just if you guys just want to copy these right here. Every 15 frames for this one. It all depends on how fast your cins are. The faster they are, the more close these keyframes will be. And so if you guys want to copy those, and then once you have these 3 sets of keyframes, we are going to go ahead another 15 frames, and we are simply just going to grab these set of keyframes right here, Control C, Control V. So all we're doing from here is the shotgun's right here, and then it's going to sway up like that, and then it's just going to sway back to the same spot where it is. And from here we can do the same thing, grab these set, Control C, go 15 frames, boom, just like that. And you can continue this process. We can go to another 15, grab these, Control C, Control V. So in this case, because we go from daylight to like cyberpunk nighttime, we obviously, as you can see, the shotgun doesn't really fit in as well. So once you have all your keyframes for this one, we can delete the other layer, we cut it, so we just have it like that. And these last keyframes, we can put them right on the end.
Pulling on my strings, yeah, they wonder why I left. Yeah,
so as you can see, the shotgun is running way too quick. So what we have to do right here is these sets of keyframes gotta go farther apart. So if we grab these, bring them out here, maybe bring this one to the end of that one, and then evenly try to space these out.
Pulling on my strings, yeah, they wonder why I left. Yeah,
so that works out very well right there. So we can actually delete these sets of keyframes. And after you've done that, we can go into element, and this is where we kind of do more of the look for it. And if we go down to render settings, go to ambient occlusion, turn this on full, we can turn up the intensity to our liking. Just like that. So we want the lighting of the shotgun to be a little more accurate. So if we go to lighting and go to add lighting, we can play around with all these different types of lighting. For this case, we're going to do spot blue, and it gives it definitely like a slightly better look to the actual video. We can minimize the element, and from here we can go over to effects and we can type in warp chroma, use it on everything, and drag that puppy on and go to the from Z distance. So we're gonna do 0.990. Gives it that subtle RGB look. And the next effect, we're gonna be using the uni edge glow. Drag that on. And if you guys want to play around with this even more, you can type in curves, and you can play with the lows and the highs of the color to get it just perfecto. And we're just gonna do a slight down. It's very sunny, so we're gonna keep it somewhat accurate. And the next effect, we're just gonna have a little bit of a wiggle. So we're gonna use the S_shake, S-shake. Put that on and change the amplitude to 0.75. Totally winging it. It's all about just playing around with it. So we're gonna do 1. And from the Z distance, we're gonna have it slightly in, just like that, 0.960. And once you've done that, we can go to the toggle switch modes if it's not already toggled, and we can turn on the motion blur.
Pulling on my strings, yeah, they wonder why I left. Yeah,
so that is what we have so far, and from here what we can do is we can control C and control V that shotgun layer if it works, and we can move it over to our next scene. So a problem I just ran into that I just realized is because I rendered out the second one, which the rain overlay is supposed to be on top of all the other layers, so making the shotgun behind it, but that's the only difference for this one and for this case. So because the shotgun was in the daylight and now that it's in like the dark time of in like neon, we can go into element and go down to render settings and go to lighting, and if we go to add lighting and click on clean blue, it gives it a slightly more realistic look to this. And to top it off, we can go down to the curves and we can grab this lower one and lower it down just like this to give it more of a realistic look to it. And there we go. And now the shotgun looks like it's more like in nighttime with the reflectingness. Is that a word? Reflectingness? So those are all the basics that I use. I am no master at all this, but this is what I created for that video. You have the creative freedom to add, any other effects that you want to make it as original as possible for yourself. And you guys can play around with all these keyframes of spacing them out and making them shorter. It all depends on how long your cinematic is. And for this case, I grab that one, bring it just there like that.
Bands, yeah, the bands tell me on. Got bands for my bands, yeah, the bands tell me on. Got bands for my.
So for the last scene, instead of copy and pasting this one, we're actually gonna grab the other daylight one because it was daylight here and it's daylight here. So we're actually gonna control C V this one and put that on top just to stay organized. Bring that over. And we can click U. And because this last one's actually pretty slow, we're actually gonna space these out just a tad more. You want to kind of have them at like evil. You want to have them kind of like even intervals. So if this might work out perfectly if we put it right there. And close that up. And from here, because I didn't actually add any of the background effects, we'll just add the radio blur like we did in the other one. Put that to the middle. Put it to 10. Type in more chroma. Add that. Same deal.
Pulling on my strings, yeah, they wonder why I left. Yeah, the bands tell me on. Got bands for my friends, no more bands for my.
Once we have all that done, now we can add all the fun, final effects. So from here, we will go up to layer, new adjustment layer, and we're gonna be adding more shake because shake is awesome. So we're gonna find S_shake, throw that on. And somewhat of the same settings, we'll do like 0.80 and 1.0, and just make sure you guys can always play around with these effects to make it work with yours. I'm gonna put the Z distance to 0.95 just so we don't get those edges. And this is where we're gonna be adding the shakes and the glows once we go through the teleport. So the first one we can do. So the first type of glow that we're going to be using is Shine. So Shine is another plugin that you can use. If you guys don't have it, you guys can use, overlays, glows, any type of flash that you want. For this case, we're going to be using Shine. So we type in Shine, put Shine on, and we want the glow to kind of like, go with actual cinematics. So if we go to Colorize, and we put none, the shine will just be whatever is around it. So for this case, that looks good. And for the shine opacity, we're gonna keyframe that, click U, and we're just gonna go back in the time, kind of right before he goes into the teleport, into the portal, and we're gonna keyframe that, put that at 0, and go ahead in the time and put another keyframe at 0. Highlight them, easy ease, go in the graph editor, and we're just gonna kind of make it go super sharp and then down like that. So now once we go through the portal, it'll have like a nice little glow shine. Now that we have our shine and Twitch set up, we can actually just grab that shine, Control C, Control V, put that right there, and grab our same shake and Control C, Control V right there. And that is the basics of how you do the portal. And from here you can add, you know, overlays, you know, flicker, RSB, all that fun stuff on top to make it more cool and make it your, you know, as original as possible for yourself.
Just pulling on my strings, yeah, they wonder why I left. Yeah, the bands, yeah, the bands turn me on. Got bands for my friends, no more bands for my life. Pull up in.
So that's gonna wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys learned something today. This is my first tutorial, so I'm sorry if I did not explain everything perfectly. But if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys drop them down below in the comments, and I'll try to help you guys out as much as possible. And if you guys want to see the next tutorial, make sure you guys hit that like button. If we can hit 2,000 likes, I'll be dropping it. So bada bing, and that's a wrap. So I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, I'm in my zone, yeah, they asking how I do this. Right up in a whip, yeah, I hit it, now I'm moving. Speaking my own language, yeah, the fans in me are fluent. Gotta pay my dues and respect to the truest. Restless, checklist, got it done on reckless.